Hello, hello, and hello, my friend. Welcome to the Code with Reza channel. My name is Reza, and I'm here to teach you Python from scratch. This course is designed for those who have some programming knowledge and are familiar with basic programming concepts like variables, functions, and classes. It's not suitable for absolute beginners. So, I want you to sit back comfortably and enjoy the course. Let's get started. Python is a programming language which is very powerful, runs everywhere, is friendly, and easy to learn. For this course, we need two software. One of them is a Python software that you can easily download from the Python website, and the other one is an editor or IDE to write your code. I use PyCharm from JetBrains, but you can use any editor that you want. Now, after we go and download the Python software and run the Python software, we can see the Python editor. So let me show you how you can run it. If this is your command prompt, for example, I'm in Mac, you can say Python 3 and then you can run it. You are now in Python 3, for example, mine is 3.11.0, and you can use this is an interpreter, so it understands Python commands and can run it for you. We will use this for a couple of lessons. This command line works as a calculator too, so you can use some sort of calculation. In general, Python has two different data types, two different number types. One of them is integer and the other one is float. The integer is like 2, the float is like 2.5. These are two uh, types of numbers that Python supports. We can do a lot of things in this command line. For example, we can say 50 minus 5 multiplied by 6, and it answers the shows the result. We can say 8 divided by 5. It's 1.6. It's fine to show the result as a float because it is really float. But the interesting thing is in Python, it always shows the float. Even if we multiply 4, divide 4 by 2, which the answer should be easy to, but it still shows as float. So the result of division is always float. If you want to get a result which is integer, you need to use doubles forward slash, something like this. And then it is integer. The another thing that we can use here is getting the reminder, which is like this, which is the reminder, which is 2. I think it's like all other languages, and if you have used calculator, it's always like this. Another interesting one is the power operator. For example, 5 to the power of 2, which is 25. It's also another interesting thing. Next, let's talk about variables. It's Python is like any other language that you can have variables and you can assign numbers to the variables. For example, let's say A is 20, or let's say B equals to 30. Oh, sorry, B equals to 30. So A is 20, B is 30. Now let's get the product of A multiplied by B, 600. Up to this point, it's very similar to other languages. For example, I use Java all the time and it's the same. But there is something which I really like in Python, which is like this. We can assign couple of values to couple of variables at the same time, like A, B, C equals to 1, 2, 3. It's very interesting. If you look at that, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. It's really nice feature that you can do it in one line. You can assign a couple of different things in one line. If variable is not defined, like name, and you try to use it, it gives you error. It says name is not defined. One of the interesting things that again is very specific to Python is that there is a variable in Python which is underscore, is a variable, and it holds the last printed expression that is assigned to the variable, to this variable. For example, look at here is 3. Why? Because the last printed expression was 3. For example, let's say a equals 12.5, b equals to 7, and now let's say a divided by b, this number. Now this number is stored into underscore. If I want to, for example, round this, I can say round the latest printed value to two decimal points, like this. So it's interesting. You don't need to type it again and again and again. This is for numbers. We only have integer and float, which is very easy. Now, let's move to strings. Strings in Python are enclosed in a single quote or double quote. So we can have something like Reza, my name, or we can have Reza. And like any other languages, like JavaScript, for example, if you have something like doesn't, you can put it into double quote so that you can easily show it. Because if you put it into single quote, it gets confused and throws an exception. But if you want to use this one, the single quote, you can again escape this one, like any other languages. So it works like this. And if you look at that, when you write something like, for example, my name, it shows a single quote here. So if you want to not show it, you can use the print function and say, oops, print, say Reza. It doesn't show that single quote anymore. So let me show you something interesting. We all know that there are certain uh, special characters like new line. For example, if I say print, for example, I want to say Reza, my name, slash n, or backslash n, and then my surname Ahmadi. Okay. Now, if you want to print it, print Reza Ahmadi. Oh, I need to use the same thing here. It prints into two different rows because as soon as it gets the n, this is the special character, and it says, okay, let's go to the next page. But sometimes we need to have this backslash n, and we don't want the interpreter to interpret it as a special character. For example, look at this one. Look at this one. Let's say we want to print C backslash something backslash name. Okay. If I wanna print this, I wanna print name. But look at this, it breaks it. It breaks into something and AME because it interprets the backslash n as a new line. There is a way, if you wanna stop the interpreter to interpret it in such a way, we just need to add R. So that looks at it as a raw string. So this is fine now. Another thing that in a string is interesting is sometimes we want to prevent end of line. For what I mean by prevent end of line is, look at this one. I want to say print with three quotes, single or double quotes. We can go to the next line. So let's say Reza Ahmadi, one, two, three, and I close it. Okay, this Reza Ahmadi. Hello, Ahmadi is in two different lines, which is totally fine. We can have even more than that. For example, we can say one, two, three, and we can say, hi, my name is Reza. And then we close it, and then we close that. So it means, hi, my name is Reza. But what if we don't want to do that? We want to print it in one line. So we can say print one, two, three, hi, and then backslash my name is Reza. And then we close it. So in this case, it attaches all of them in one line. Sometimes you wanna in your code to put it in different lines, but when you print it, you wanna have it in one line. So this is how you can do that. Also, strings can be concatenated together. For example, these are all valid strings. We can say print Reza plus Ahmadi, which makes sense. We are passing this to the print and it says Reza Ahmadi. Another interesting thing, which is interesting for me, is we don't need that plus. We can say print Reza any number of spaces that we want and Ahmadi. In this case, it again concatenates this one. It's also interesting feature of Python. And also the third way that we can show it is Reza, comma Ahmadi, which the difference is it puts one space between them. The previous one there's no space. Here there is a space. In general, we can have something like Python. And if you look at that, it adds all of them together. When we have two string next to each other without any operator, it concatenates it. Now we have reached to the interesting part. Look at this. Name equals Reza. That's not a strange name is Reza. But look at here. Name 0 R. So it looks at a string as a sequence of characters. I remember that, for example, in Java, when you have a string like this, you cannot get indexed. It doesn't have any index. You need to change it to characters and get one of these letters like this. You cannot directly get it. There is a method for that, but not like this. So we can say name one E. It's very interesting. Now look at this. What if we have a very large sentence like Reza Ahmadi is the best teacher, and we want to get the last item, the last character in this string. In Python, -1 refers to the end of the sequence, end of this list. So I can say name -1, which is R, this R. The one next to the R is minus 2. So it starts from minus 1. This is minus 1. Next is minus 2, minus 3. So I can say name minus 2, which is E, which is this E. So it's interesting. You can easily directly go to the. In so many other languages, you need to get the length of this and say name dot length dot minus one so that it pointer comes to this here. But in here, you just easily say minus one. That's very interesting. Now let's look at the slicing. We can do slicing too. For example, again, let's say name equals Reza. I can say name from 0 to 2, index 2, which is RE. Then the last one, the second one is exclusive. So it goes up to this one, not including this one. So this is 0, this is 1. It it throws away after 1. So it gets R and E, returns R E, name R E. I can say name 2 to 5. So it's 0, 1, 2. This is the first one, and 3, and there is no 5. So 4 or 5. 0, 1, 2, 3. There is no 5. So it's okay if you go out of this index. For example, I can say name, I can say name 0 to 50. It doesn't throw any exception. It just say Reza. Another interesting thing is we can, if we want to start from beginning, we can drop the first and say the last one. So when you drop this first part, means from beginning, like this. If you drop the next one, you means end of it. For example, 2 till end. And look at this one, it's interesting. Minus 2, start from minus 2 till end. So it starts from minus 1, minus 2, it goes to the end. Or if we want to get all of it, we can say nothing, colon, nothing means from beginning to the end. This is a very interesting way of getting a complete copy of that sequence. We have another function that we can use. That function is len, which returns the length of the string, which is 4 here. And there is another string str function. This function returns whatever we pass as a string. There is another method like integer that if we send a string, it returns integer. There is a float that if we send a pass a string, it returns. There are some other string methods which are very interesting. Look at this one, Reza Ahmadi. It's all lowercase. I say title, called title function. It makes the first letter uppercase. Look at this one. 1, 2, Reza, 1, 2. Strip removes the spaces on the left and right. We can also only remove on the left one or only removed from the right side. There is another method to change this one to uppercase, which is upper, and there is another one. which makes it lowercase, like Reza dot lower. This is all lowercase. There is a method which checks to see if it ends with, for example, ZA. If Reza ends with ZA, which is true, there is another to find a index of something in a string, like find the index of EZ in Reza, which is 0 and then 1. The index is 1. And something very interesting is we can use EZ in Reza, and it checks, it's very interesting. It checks that if EZ is in this Reza. It's very interesting for me. True. For example, R in Reza. True. That's very interesting. Another one is uh, is another function on the strings. It checks if its string is digit. And also something which is interesting for me is in another languages, when we have couple of words together, we use camel case. But in here, we all of them are in lowercase, so it's like one word. It's interesting. Anyway, if this one is digit, we want to check if the input is all digit. Yes, it's true. We also have another one to see if this one is identifier. Is if this string that we pass is an acceptable identifier in Python, which is not one, which is not, is false. We cannot have identifier starts with number, but we can have one starting with character or letter. And we can have another. There is another method that checks if this one is lower, all lowercase. Yeah, it's true. But if we say if A B C D is lower, it returns false. Same thing we have is upper. Checks if it is uppercase. And there is a couple of more. The other one is, for example, imagine we have Reza Ahmadi and we want to remove a prefix. We say remove prefix Reza. Removes prefix. Or we can have the same thing and let's say remove suffix. Removes the suffix. Another one which is interesting is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can replace space with comma. You can find it in other languages, so it's not something very weird or strange. Or we can say 1, 2, 3 split over comma. We have a list. This is a representation of the list. This breaks this using comma as a delimiter and returns a list of 1, 2, 3. And The last string one that I can show you is to check if something is starts with another couple of characters. For example, Reza Ahmadi starts with Reza. The real last one on a string is uh, this one. Let me show you. It's easier to show. For example, let me say I have name as Reza, and I say print. I want to say hello, that name. I want to say hello, whatever is in the name. I don't want to hard code it. I want to make it open to whatever is passed. It doesn't work. If I say hello name, it just shows hello name. So how to read this name value and put it in here? We need to use F at the beginning and outside of this quotation. F is for format. Format hello name, and it reads name and puts in here. Hello Reza. So these are all the numbers and string for Python, and I'm sure that you have learned it if you have any experience of any language. And it's easy. You don't need to go over 100 projects to learn the basics of numbers and strings in Python. This is all about it. And now you know it and you understand it, and I hope you enjoy it. This is the first part of this tutorial. Is going to be a couple of different and more videos. I will upload every video, uh, every week, each week one video, and the next video will be next week. Next Wednesday, I'll do my best to do that on Wednesdays. And please subscribe if you don't want to miss it. If you want to follow with me and get the videos as soon as it comes out, please subscribe so that you be notified. Thank you.